And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gamer Social Club Weekly News Podcast. Today's recording is on Wednesday, the 2nd of April, 2025. I am your host, as always, Harry Glynn Jones, aka Knavish Crayfish. And this week I am joined by uh, Only Daggers, No Empathy, Lost in the Back Rooms. It's Lady V. How are you,
Hello,
V?
everyone. Yes, I am lost in the back rooms of my mother's flat as we're as I'm staying in London for a few days.
Yeah. The background, obviously, the size and the emptiness really gives it off. But it was when you were moving things around to get the tablet all set up, and I was getting like corners of the room at jaunty angles and like the occasional shot of the light, and it was like, this is a very backrooms vibe.
Yeah, and actually, Addy knows because we discussed it while you were off sorting stuff out. There is actually nothing else in the room. There is only a lamp with a broken bulb. So it's just me in the room with spotlights on and a broken bulbed lamp. Like, but my mum did give me wine, so shout out to Elizabeth for
Wow.
that.
It looks like you're superimposed on the beige wall you've got. Like it's like a background. It's like a really like uninteresting background.
Yeah. There's loads of really cool stuff behind it, but you've chosen this just shade of beige.
Yeah.
Yeah, just CGI something in. Fine.
And then the other member of the team today, who has found his way out of the quarantine zone for just a moment, it seems, is our man Adam Stewart, aka Oh No Not Addy. How you doing, buddy?
Hey up, how's the Fetlin? We're in good form today.
Oh no!
We're all right.
Oh no!
Staying on brand now.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. But yeah, of course, that it's going to be the three of us today. Mark, unfortunately, isn't here to join us, but that's okay because, as we've already mentioned a couple of times, and we are going to cover again at the end of this video, we will be all getting together at the London Game Festivals happening. It's actually, as B said, the reason why she's already down in London. She's getting ahead of us. She's got the jump start, and we'll be there tomorrow to give us the lowdown and everything. And then the rest of us, Mark, Adam, and myself, will be making our way over for Friday on the 4th. So yeah, we'll be doing that, obviously, which is going to be really exciting. We'll be able to talk all about that probably on the next podcast, as well as all the stuff, the material that comes out from it, all the different articles we'll put up around it. But yeah, of course, to kick off, obviously, you are watching, as we've already said, the Gamer Social Club Weekly News Podcast. If you're already watching it, you already know, or you may have an idea of the channel then, in which case, here is our YouTube channel. Please consider subscribing for more videos like this, as well as other content that we do. We do the occasional guides, and we will be bringing back things like our weekly weekend podcast eventually as well. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, if you enjoy this video today, please consider dropping a like. And if you have any feedback for us or just want to drop any questions for us, leave them in the comments below. Obviously, alongside the YouTube channel, we do also have the Gamer Social Club website, which is at www.gamersocialclub.ca, and that's where you can find all our gaming-related content to do with, with news, reviews, previews, editorials, guides, and is that everything? Have I missed one? Interviews occasionally, that sort of thing as well. Yeah, we are of course on all the socials as well. We are on Twitter at gamer_est_c. We are at Blue Sky and Threads at Gamer Social Club in its entirety. And there is the Facebook group as well, if you'd like to join us there. And of course, we have our Discord, which is where all our very small but very, very passionate community meet. And we hang out and we have our community game nights. We currently have a new community game, haven't we, for April? It's our game of the month.
Yeah, Vanquish is their game of the month.
There we go. So we,
So if you like mechs and sliding around on the ground as a fun mech-clad person, if you like Platinum games, if you enjoyed
yes,
Metal Gear Solid's Revengeance or any of the Bayonetta games, or potentially like an Armored Core but more camp, you would love to. You could come and join us, and we're all going to talk about Vanquish, which is one of my favorite 360 games. So I'm looking forward to it.
Just
have you played
typical.
Addy?
No, I know. Well, I remember sliding around in a level is
me
the
too.
extent of my Vanquish history. And I was like, it's on my list of games I want to play. But equally, there are some big old titles I need to finish and get back to, like that have all just come out. You know, you had Assassin's Creed Shadows. I've still got to get on with Atomfall. I want to go back to Avowed and finish that. And there's the first Berserker as well. That's all just like are all last month. I was like, I can't do it.
And then we've only just gone into April, and that's already got quite a few big games also coming up as well. So
Some of the Midnight comes out tomorrow if you're on early access, and then it's next week. Otherwise, it's early access.
It's soon, isn't it?
Early
I think the
access
8th.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You could potentially look at the site about South of Midnight tomorrow. I'm not saying there's going to be anything on it, but you know, if you wanted to tune in, there could potentially be some
by the
tips
time
and tricks. You never know.
By the time people are actually watching this, yes, the likelihood is the stuff will be up on the site, I imagine, because
and that will be South of Midnight, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Well, yes, it would be. But yeah,
well done. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Polite clap. Yeah. But yes, so obviously we normally start these by talking a bit about what we've been up to, what we've been playing. I don't have too much to add, and we do have a bit of a focus for the section because we have Adam with us, who couldn't join us last week when we would have talked a bit more about it. But I have been playing more 33 Immortals, just really digging that, playing more with V on that, as well as more, members of our GSC community. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really got its hooks into me. And now that they've also fixed a bunch of the feats that were holding back progression, that's like, again, made that whole thing feel that much better. So I'm so happy to get back into it and be able to push on and get more unlocks and grow more powerful. And on our last session, V and I went up to the second level, as it were, the second realm or tier, and got all the way through to the boss for the first time to see that. And we won't say anything about it, but that was a very cool experience. And I thought we did pretty well for a first time, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. We got down to quite at least we only had like 3 health bars left.
Yeah.
I think by the time that I died at the end. So yeah, it was a good effort considering we had no idea what we were doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Very much. Like it was very much like doing Inferno for the first time. But yeah, that's kind of what me. I've been playing a couple of other bits here and there for other things coming up. But otherwise, that's all me covered. What about you, V? Anything else you've been playing?
Only Koira, the new game that was co-produced by Don't Nod. So there's a review up on the site for that.
Mm-hmm.
Very lovely little game. So it's Studio Tolima, which is a Belgian-based company, co-produced via Don't Nod, and it's there's no words, there's no text or anything realistically in the game. It's all very music based actually. So all of the emotion is conveyed by different musical instruments and things like that. You are a forest spirit running around a forest with your new friend, which is a tiny dog with a little glowy nose. And I won't spoil anything else. All the only thing I will say is I did have a little bit of a cry at one point, but
oh no.
Don't worry, the dog's fine.
Okay,
I can spoil that. The dog is fine.
Yeah, I played Planet Plan. I thought if anything happens to whatever he's called, Mewy or whatever he's called, I would kill someone.
I would kill everyone and then myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lovely little game. I think realistically it's about 3 hours, just all in. You could do it in a nice session. All about what I took away from it. It's hard to say what it is about because obviously there's no voice acting or anything like that. But humankind's relationship with nature and how we frequently take that for granted, and it doesn't just damage nature; it can sometimes very clearly damage ourselves. So, but I would really recommend it. It's a lovely game. But yeah, that's apart from that and 33 Immortals, which obviously I've been playing lots of. That's all I've really been doing over the past few weeks. But
I do want to get around to Koira. That was one that was on my list to pick up, and I love those little shorter experiences. Like there's been a couple of games I've seen actually recently when I've been getting bits together for like the demo disc and such, where the games are like highlighting the fact that like this is like an hour and a half long experience. Like that's what we're promising. And I'm like, yes, thank God, being able to play a full experience, if it feels fleshed out enough and realized, I'm like, great, this beats a 20-hour, like, this is just rinse and repeat, boring, sluggish, no interest in what's happening in the world, just want to get to the end just so I can say I've done it or get achievements for it or whatever. Like, that's a better trade-off for me, to me personally. But we've got him here. He's survived so far. So let's get a little bit of a report, shall we?
Live in the studio.
Live in studio.
Winter, man, quarantine zone.
Our special section for this week, Adamfall, as we decided to call it. Yes. So yeah, Atomfall with Adam. Take it away. But what are your sort of, I guess, your top level thoughts, I guess, on the game? Because obviously you're doing our review for the game after you've finished it. You're still not finished it yet.
No.
But like, give us a feel for your time with it thus far.
Yes, I've been very busy of late. So in real life, not just in gaming world. Unfortunately,
Yes,
real life.
Yeah, you do also have a life outside of this, but
yeah. But no, I think I feel like I'm close to an ending, because one of the things I noticed when I first loaded it up, there are multiple ways to finish the game, and I've gone with the default setting that's recommended, which is called Survivor. And that's what they recommend. I think that's probably what they want you to do in terms of playing it. And you go in and you wake up, you've got the classic, oh, I've got amnesia, what's going on sort of thing. And you're just in like this underground bunkery thing. And then this guy in a hazmat comes in and is like, you're like, oh God, that's not good. And then you've got to basically, and that's all you've got. And you get like a lead straight off the bat, and you've got to figure out what the hell is going on. He's not even really bothered about who he is. He's like, or whoever you're playing as, I don't know, you've never see them. It's like, oh, what's going on here? What's happening? Like, no, like not, I can't remember anything, but I'm going to figure out why I'm in the middle of an atomic quarantine zone. But it's pretty cool. If you played Elden Ring and you first come out of the underground tutorial bit and you see Limgrave for the first
time.
Like, ooh, okay. So when you come out of the bunker for the first time and you see like the rolling hills of the Lake District, and you look into the north and there's like this weird blue electric cloud thing over an atomic power plant, you're like, he's going on over there. But it looks really like amazing.
That's just what Scotland looks like.
It's like nuclear disasters everywhere. No, but it's really quite striking actually, because it's got a real feel of like, I mean, this is something more for us that we probably associate to all people who've been to those areas up north in England, but it's got the real lusciousness of it all when you first come out, and there's like, there's lots of water and there's rockery, and it's kind of like the right sort of rock, if that makes sense. You expect to see dry stone walls, and that may mean nothing to some people, but it's like, it's really cool. So like, oh, where do I go? You got to make your first decision. And I decided I'll go to the right first, and I started exploring. I came across a crashed helicopter, and it was just in a pool of water, and I saw an enemy. Oh, I assumed he was an enemy, and I think he was. And I crept up to him, and he's having a piss just into the river. He's having a thing. The stream is coming out of him. You can't see anything, but you can see his wee coming out. And I'm like, wow, they've really got.
This is the most north of England thing I can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, well, that sounds like a Friday night out, doesn't it? And then you creep up behind him, and you break his neck, and then you just crack on. And then I went into a cave, and I thought, is everyone going to be enemy? I came up to this guy, and obviously with these types of games, you save on the regular, obviously. And I came up to this guy, and I had like a bat or a knife or something out, and I was like, and I got the drop on him, and I murdered him straight away, thinking he was an enemy. And then I thought, hang on, because like I've played Sniper Elite, and it's by the developers in Sniper Elite, and they get those reticules, that goes from like white to yellow to red when you kind of get spotted. I noticed it was just kind of like the cautious thing, like, because he'd spotted you. And I just went straight up to him and wailed on him. And I was like, hang on. So I just reloaded the save, and I thought, let me just have a go of walking up to him and see what happens. And he's like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God, I just murdered a really friendly guy who wants to sell me stuff. and he's just like, "Oh, like, give me some loads of advice and intel," and it just was just like, oh god! And then before I got to him, I was attacked by loads of bats. I had to bat him away, literally bat him away with my cricket bat, with these bats. But it just like that was just like the first 10 minutes of the experience. I think the thing that I really like about it, that's really striking, is you could take this in any way. You could approach it in however you want. If I want to murder everyone, I absolutely can murder everyone. I mean, I'll struggle to find out what the hell is going on because there's no intel because I've murdered everyone. But there's other documents and stuff like that. But obviously, you need to have relationships with people, maybe tenuous relationships with people, and figure out what's going on. So you might pick your battles, or you might make friends with people who then grant you access to certain areas. But then if you do that, you might piss off some other people who then become like more hostile towards you. But those relationships are tenuous, and then if you change your mind mid-mission, then you turn everyone against you, and all hell breaks loose. I did that, and oh
Are
boy,
you going to
they
be a
were
liability at the conference on Friday? Are you just going to like assault someone and then do something else about it?
yeah, few drinks. Anyone just like I'm just very suggestible. Oh, what you said sounds good. Go, let's do that. But like, because I think I've seen some I haven't written a review yet proper because I've not. I feel like I'm near the end of a first go, as it were, because I've got one more area to kind of proper explore. I've been exploring each area. There's like four main areas. No, one, two, three. Yeah, four main areas in the game, and then there's like this central place called the Interchange, which is kind of like the center of the mystery. And you are trying to solve a mystery like, why is it in quarantine 5 years later? What were the scientists working on? What's going on? There's some weird stuff going on. There's lots of like you find loads of notes and papers saying like the government sent in these troops, this organization of army guys called the Protocol. And you don't quite know why they were sent in. What are they there for? Some of them don't even know. And there's a lot of mystery, and you're trying to unravel it all. There's a lot of documents that help allude to some stuff. And I've been playing for 15 hours, not figured it out yet, or whatever. But it's like I said, one area to go. But there's like loads of cultists have just wandered off into the woods and set up their own like religion and stuff like that. That are like it's just against the oppression. So they've like become like, don't go out there. You'll get eaten or whatever. But there's some weird weird radiation stuff seeping into the land. You come across a sheep that's dead and it's bloated and purple. If you get too close, it kind of explodes and you get a bit irradiated for a bit. So like, what is going on? There's these robots patrolling, setting things on fire to get rid of this weird radiation stuff. But all of those are like potential enemies. They leave you be. It's kind of like the hold citizen, present hall pass type thing in Family Guy. If you remember that one, it's the RoboCop thing. It's kind of like that if you go too close to them and like, oh god. But it's like they're really kind of intimidating, and you don't feel like a legend. You can't just murder everyone. Like just go out all guns blazing. You will struggle, I think, which is kind of the point. You are just a survivor with a bat and a rusty handgun, and you can upgrade your stuff as you find bits. But you're always searching and scavenging with your metal detector and stuff. There's so much to it really that I'm really just kind of enjoying going into caves and figuring out what's there and seeing what I can find. Oh, found a lunchbox and a comic book. That's exciting. And then off I go and found some pistol bullets and stuff like that. It's just like, but they really put a lot of detail and kind of history and lore into it, which is really cool. So there's like a lot to kind of really appreciate in the game, I think, which I'm really enjoying so far. I don't know. If you have questions, I know I just like rambled at you. So
no,
I
that's
have
good.
a
Like,
little thought, but
I wanted to say, like,
at this point.
I wanted to say that of what you said though about your experience playing at the end there, where you're like, you know, there are certain things that you are used to having in other types of games like this, other RPGs. The most obvious one to link it to is Fallout, which is what everyone was obviously referring to it as, Fallout in England, that sort of thing, or Fallout UK, something like that. But whilst it may have its similarities, it's not a game that's designed the same way as a Fallout game. It's closer to a survival game than an RPG. In that, yes, you do have elements of progression where you get the skill points that you can use to unlock stuff, but not only does that feel like, and I'm very early on in my experience. I think I've played maybe 3, going up to 4 hours. So I'm much earlier than you, even by comparison. But like, I'm not finding those a lot. Like I found, I think 2. So I have the option to unlock one of the first 2 that you can unlock, but then all the other ones I can see have all cost like 4 or 5 at least to unlock. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't feel like I'm going to be unlocking a bunch of these really quickly. So I either have to pick quite sparingly which ones I want to go for, or I don't know, maybe there's ways to earn other ones or something that I haven't worked out yet. I don't know, but you know, it feels like it's the sort of game which is like if you think of Fallout and then you remove a lot of the stuff that makes you become overpowered, that's closer to what it's like. You can't just keep raising your stats consistently to make yourself super powerful. You can't walk around in like a full mech suit that you've found because somebody else had when you killed him and stole it. You can't do that sort of stuff. You're finding rusty shotguns. You're finding 2 shotgun shells in a box somewhere. Now you can use said shotgun for 2 shots, which is great. But what do you have after that? Your cricket bat, your police bat, and whatever you can get, basically.
Is it almost closer to like a traditional Fallout then, like a Fallout 1 or a Fallout 2?
Yeah, in a
That
certain
the survival aspect's a lot, and exploring and doing all of the mystery and talking to people is a lot more important than the sort of just grind up this. Not that I don't love a Bethesda RPG, but I know Fallout 1, Fallout 2 have got a very different vibe to
yeah.
the later ones.
I think it's a very solid reference, and I think also there's almost an immersive sim quality to it, just by virtue of the fact that it puts these limitations on you. So it's like you've got Resident Evil almost style. It's not quite Resident Evil because you're not having to like manage like things in to position them, but you've got a very limited inventory. You can't expand it. You can't buy a new bag to get bigger, more space or anything like that. You can only hold so many weapons. You can only hold so much of other stuff, and and there's no money to be used. It's a bartering system. So you're trading with the shopkeepers and stuff like that. So much of this is designed to almost remind you constantly, like, you're never going to be super powered. You're never going to be at a point where you can just run through an environment and not give a shit about anybody you come across. And that's then kind of almost reinforced, like you said, with the reticules of like people like spotting you and then being wary of you and then eventually attacking you and stuff like that. You can play with that because everyone, when you see like a group of outlaws or whoever walking through and they spot you, the first thing they do is be like, all right, chill out, wait over there, like weapons away, sort of thing. Like they're not like instantly like, oh, let's go over closer to them and then attack them because we've gone into range and then we're attack, then combat begins, sort of thing. It's like, no. They behave like other people who don't trust you and are like, all right, like there's no need for us to all get nuts here. Let's be cool. And then if you decide to stick around and raise the tension, then they're going to be like, look, we've said it once.
There's really cool nuance in that combat as well, because there's in one of the guides I wrote, it's I wanted to like shoot a Molotov out of a guy's hand and you get an achievement. But when I did it, like I got the jump on them. So I like pulled my gun out and they're all like, whoa, 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 like that. The reaction wasn't immediately start attacking you. They're like, well, hang on. And that was quite a cool, just like, let's see where this I mean, it was always going to end in violence, but like, it's quite cool. They're like,
Because you're
that was there. Me and my rusty 6 bullets.
Yeah.
It was like I just loved those little things, and I think I said it, I haven't done it myself yet because I keep forgetting to do it because I want to try it. But one of the trailers, there's a power attack with a cricket bat where he holds it above his head and swings it down on top of him. And in the trailer, there's a really kind of cool looking outlaw with like a top hat and like makeup on and face paint, and he's looking up at the bat as it's swinging down, and he's like, oh, and it just I just loved that extra animation of him looking up to get the on the face. It's quite cool. I haven't done that yet. I want to do that.
Yeah, there definitely feels like there's a level of detail that you don't otherwise see in games like those much larger scale RPGs and stuff like that, where the face animations just won't be there for that. They wouldn't bother with that, obviously. But with this, they put the time and the work in. And yeah, there are certain bits I feel are a little bit funky. Like melee combat doesn't feel the best, I would say. But at the same time, like you're a guy, I guess you're meant to be a soldier, but you're not even too sure if you're a soldier or not. Like you don't really know anything about yourself, so it's very much a case of like you don't even know if you've got any like training of any sort. You could just be a guy who's found a cricket bat and you're just swinging it wildly like this, and
You could
that
just
make
be in a baden down the pub every Saturday, like just
yeah
really good at fighting. Like you never
yeah
know.
you just don't know. Yeah. So in a sense, you can kind of make sense of it in game, as it were. But I do feel like yeah, it can feel a little bit what's the word?
I would feel a bit disappointed if it was a bit too easy, though. A bit like,
Hmm.
you're a legend with a cricket bat or a legend with a melee. Like it feels right, like you said, that it doesn't feel
It's a little
really
bit
seamless.
clumsy.
Like, yeah, it feels funny because you've got limited stamina because
Yeah.
you're not a trained soldier. From what I can tell, you're not a trained soldier or anything like that. You've just you're swinging for survival. You may have just been running and you run out of breath, and then some guide starts attacking you. Like, yeah, it's kind of a bit more rough around the edges, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not a legend. Do you know what I mean? It's
I do like games that you're not like the chosen one. Like you're not the Dragonborn. You're not the lone survivor. You're not like feel like I should like you're not the tarnished. You're not etc.
yeah.
You're just a wee guy like trying your best.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that probably there's not enough games that really lean into that. At a certain point, they always get to the point where you are slightly overpowered, and then it goes into the power fantasy part of it rather than just again being a wee guy trying their best.
Yeah. Yeah. But it still is that rewarding experience, despite the fact you're not being given, dozens of whatever like power orbs that raise your strength, or oh, you've now got a flaming longsword or whatever. It's like there's none of that involved in it. It's now about like you get the leads to things that are going on, and through those leads you'll then find out what's happening in this world, and it's delivered to you in these little small chunks of text in these little like logs you basically get that track everything for you. And as soon as you get another one, it tells you like, hey, you've got a new one, check it out, see what that updates. Maybe that's now finished off other ones, so you don't have to worry about that anymore, and you can just focus on this one now. And they'll give you coordinates that you then have to manually find on your map to then find the locations to go and explore or search with your metal detector, as Addy said earlier. Like there's such a grounded nature to this game,
Yeah.
without it being like bogged down in the like deep survival mechanics of certain games, where it's like you have to eat, you have to drink, you have to sleep. It's like, no, we're going to do away with those bars and stuff like that, because ultimately that's not fun. Like that just adds a level of like complexity that people might enjoy in a survival game because that's what it's about. But with a game like this, it's like, no, you've got health and you've got your stamina, your heart rate. Those are the things you have to manage. Otherwise, you're fine. You're golden. Just get your bearings and go for a wander. And discover that there's so much a level of discovery in this game, which again, a Fallout or a Skyrim has obviously oodles of, but it sort of I don't know if it feels like Atomfall is able to have that same level of like, oh, this place is big and full of stuff to do, and probably not be nearly as large a scale as a lot of these more recent RPGs.
If Adamfall was like a 300-hour thing, it'd be too much. It'd be if it like that level of like if they kept it up at that level as well for like a 300, like that scale of Skyrim or something like that, you'd be just burnt out by it. I think it works really well, and I think because it's got like multiple endings, you're trying to do things differently or uncover different leads or make different choices. I think I've made the only one I've really noticed that I think would have an absolute shift on a split in the way that the story goes has happened. I've just experienced it, and I'm like, okay, there's definitely one way or the other there. But I think everything else, if it is impacting on it, is a bit more nuanced at the moment, which is quite nice as well. Because it's more your actions have consequences rather than being binary choices. And I've only come across one obvious like either or, which I think is quite interesting. And I'm like, I must be towards the back end of the first run, so it's yeah. And I think to the point you were saying earlier, when you're not the Tarnished or the Dragonborn or whatever else, and you get through and you succeed, it's quite satisfying. It's really like if I've taken out 8 enemies really sneakily or quite like efficiently with traps and throwables and that sort of stuff, that's really satisfying because I am not a superhero. Like I've just wailed on them with a cricket bat and I've thrown a grenade and I've built myself with the crap I found with the metal detector I used. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's very
100%.
organic.
It sounds to me like if the comparison to Fallout probably like a little bit of a misnomer, but when I'm thinking about it, it's like when I play Skyrim, and I do have like 900 hours in Skyrim, but I have done the main quest in Skyrim once. I did not really care about Alduin because I was too busy going to become all of the chosen of all the Daedric princes and the head of the Thieves Guild and the head of the Dark Brotherhood and anything else that I could get my grubble little paws on throughout the game. Whereas it seems like hearing you guys talk about it and seeing some of the stuff that I've seen, it's like Atomfall it is actually inherently about solving this mystery of this, like the world and what's happening, and then you find your way around doing that, which for me, and again, I do love Skyrim. I'm not going to say anything bad about it, but like that's what I kind of want from a video game now, like a game that you can get to the end of in like 15-20 hours. That's really engaging. I want to finish it, and I'm not just driven to fuck about indefinitely because it's really fun to shout people off the side of mountains. Like, so,
one of the things that really struck me, and I think I talked about it briefly when I mentioned it last time, when we were just talking off channel and stuff. But one of the things that was making me smile so much was just like coming up, because I mean, obviously from the north, you can hear that if you're in UK, like, well, we know where he's from, sort of thing. He's up there somewhere. From down south, like Harry.
I mean, down there, like.
I'm further south than you, but I'm more north than he is. So, still in the north because I'm above the Midlands, obviously. Anyway, like when I was walking, like you approach people, I mean, the Rebellion are in Wakefield, which is like 20 minutes from where I live, which is amazing. Like I really want to go visit that. That's why I got really annoyed I didn't get invited to that pub thing that they did, that preview thing, because it must have been close. Anyway, but like they've done the work, they've done the research around the dialect, the accents, the language, the way people talked now. Like when you say, they go "hey up," "find fettle," all that sort of stuff. There's a couple of words I don't understand from certain areas from dialect, but it was really, it made me smile because they've done the work proper and they've really kind of put the work in and got the right accents and actors to do it and stuff like that. And it just made me really think about, like, I'm not going into the nonsense of that conversation because it's a nonsense from the other side of it. But like when people talk about like being represented in games and stuff like that, like that's why it's like I mean, like I don't really care if whoever I'm playing as, but when you see it though, it's really lovely when they get it right, isn't it? When you see, I would call it my culture because it feels weird to do that, I suppose, because I've never really thought about like being from Yorkshire as a culture. But like when you see it in the game and someone walk up to me, I say "hey up" to everybody all the time, and then you somebody in the game like that's worldwide is saying "hey up," and they've not like watered it down or made it like, oh, the Queen's English proper to make it applicable to, because that's what Americans think all English people sound like, and nothing against American folk, but like that's sometimes how it's represented, isn't it? And it's just really nice to see such a variety of like northern accents and folk and stuff like that. It's just great. I really loved it for that. So I'm like, I'm really enjoying that. Just walk up to people, "how's he doing, me duck? May I me talk to you about this?" Stuff like that. It's just a nonsense. It's great.
They've done an excellent job with that. I love the fact that the first time I heard it when they said "boffin," I was like, that's so quintessential. I love it.
Word. No one else will know what that word is. People I speak to in Yorkshire, I go, "hey up, how's the fettling?" And they go, "what?"
Yeah.
You're from Yorkshire, how do you not know that word?
Yeah, it's true. Very true. But hey, they've done their work. They've clearly done their work, and it shows. I think it's a really, really great experience.
I really enjoy it. We'll get to the review at some point, but we're busy. Yeah. I've done lots of guides. You have.
I've done a lot of great. You've done a lot of great work with the guides. So yeah, please do come and check those out, everybody. And obviously look forward to Adam's review. Yeah, and again, we're not the only people who think it's great because at least how many it's hit? Some
1.5 million have been playing it
There you
like
go.
last week, was it? And it's had 1.5 million players already, which
There
is
you go.
fair.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens when you launch it on Game Pass and all the platforms apart from Switch. Maybe it'll be on Switch too.
Hey, yeah, maybe.
Probably will be.
Because that's how the Switch
Probably.
2 will work, right? It's just everything that was released will get released on Switch 2 now. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, if
Very good segue into
Very good
talking
segue.
about.
On to
exactly a perfect segue. If our show from today is anything to go by, then I think you're right. I think we'd like to see more of things that have been out on the new Switch 2. And so yeah, that brings us on to our sort of second, probably last and main topic of conversation for today, because we have just had, well, a couple hours ago, we had the Nintendo Switch 2 stream
Direct.
showcase, Treehouse. What was it?
Direct.
I don't actually. Direct.
It's a direct. It was a Nintendo Direct, yeah.
Right. Okay. So we just had the Direct, which was an hour long, by my reckoning.
Yes, it was. It was an hour.
Yeah.
At some points, it felt like it was longer than an hour, and other points, I was just like, "Has this been an hour?" Like,
it was very strangely paced. Yeah.
Can I say that is the word? And I tend to be the person who covers the streams and try and do a summary article for the streams, like when they have showcases or E3 or whatever the hell it is, Summer Games Fest. And I did like 8 out of the 10 shows of Summer Games Fest last year. And that has been the worst direct stream showcase I have ever seen. It was all over the place. I mean, like you start with a game and then you start talking about the hardware. You go to more games and you come back to the hardware. Then it's released it. Then it's just, who was in charge of putting that together? Because it is terrible. Surely you have a structure where you start with we're here to talk about the Switch 2, which you've only seen once. Maybe start with that and then look at the games and then announce the release date at the end, right? That's your big reveal, right? It's coming out. Not middle of the thing, go, oh yeah, by the way, it's coming out in June. What? Like, you just, oh, here's some more games. Here's 50 games in 3 seconds as also. Like, what was that? How are you meant to know how many games? Sorry, a bit of a rant. How are you meant to know how many games? Like, you know the complaint I had before about showcases, try to shoehorn too many games and you can't focus on them. Oh, sorry, you get 3 seconds to a game. You've got no time to even know what the game is. There was one game I couldn't even read the title before it moved on to the next one because it was like Nobunaga something or other. And like, well, I don't know what game that was. It had gone to Silk Song 2. Okay. It was just like, steady on.
Is that the Man of Mystery of something? Like, yeah, I think so, yeah.
There we go. Proof again, like everyone missed it.
Sorry, I had to get that out.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about. How do you guys want to try and go through it, or do you want to do it section by section as best as we think we can do it? You know, look at hardware first, maybe the hardware side of things, and then go into software, and maybe then talk about more of the information that's come out after the show. Again, another point to be made about the structure of everything. Price wasn't even in part of the showcase, the Direct. It was really revealed within the hour afterwards or something like that. It's like, whose idea was that? Why? What benefit is there to doing it that way? I do not understand. Anyway,
do you know all the leveled at Microsoft, so, and fairly so when they were all over the place with their messaging, and then they this absolute catastrophe of nonsense of information. It's just everywhere. And like, how are you meant to keep a track on what is going on? Like all the stuff around the game, there's no game on the game cartridge, you know, the sharing thing, all that sort of stuff. It was all like just piecemeal mentioned, and like here's all the data, but you've got to figure out where it is. It's like understanding your console is not a game until I play the tour thing that is a game.
I'm not playing that. That's paid. Are you joking? Like, I'm not paying for a tutorial of how the magnets work on the side of a console.
When they said that
I know how magnets work. Like.
When they said that was paid for, that was going to be built into the game, like like Astrobot, Astro's Playroom.
Yes,
I think what everybody PlayStation, and everyone would have it. You have to pay for a tutorial.
I guarantee you that every single person watching that showcase, that Direct, had the exact same thought. 100%. Everyone was like, "That's the bundling game. That's the free bundling game."
Okay. They did, because I was watching the stream on YouTube and I had the live chat open.
And everyone I bet was saying
when they were talking about it, everyone was like, Astrobot copy, Astrobot. And then as soon as they said paid, the entire chat just went paid, 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 question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just like, what do you mean? It doesn't even Astro Showroom as well, like seemed more like a game.
Yeah.
This is like, go over and touch the magnet and it will tell you how the magnet is built into the Switch.
No.
And it will connect to the other magnet. And I'm like, okay. And you want me to pay you to show me a little diagram of two bits of a console sticking together?
Like, I understand that developing that will have cost resource, sure, but just print an instruction manual if you don't want to like you're doing that. No
Bundle
one,
it for free,
Yeah,
and then
make it
people
free.
can put it
Yeah.
if they want to. Like,
It's a customer experience, isn't it? You include that in there, people's experience with the console is going to be much better. They'll be like, yes, okay, cool. They've guided me through it. I know, because they always the thing about the iPhones. Here's like 17 features you didn't know your iPhone could do, because Apple are terrible at telling you what they do with the phones, even though they put amazing, like, cool things in there. You're like, oh, I didn't know I did that, because no one ever tells you, and I don't know how to look for that particular feature that's hidden behind 7 menus. Like but you've got to take down that barrier, man. Flipping heck. They will shut up, but they will. They maybe when we finish the podcast, I'll shut up. But like,
really.
well, I won't be here, so you won't hear me. So, like, but they've had months. They've advertised. They announced it in January or whenever it was. They had so long with this, right? And I'm more annoyed because that some of the stuff they're announcing makes it sound like they've just discovered it and like it's a new thing and like we've been doing this for 20 years. Welcome.
you can do voice chat.
Voice chat.
on your
Welcome to the 21st century, Nintendo.
I'm going to hijack your rant. We're turning this into the hardware section, okay? Because you're now talking about the hardware. This is now us talking about the
Talk
hardware.
about the hardware. Talk about the hardware. Let's talk about the hardware.
It's just like it's the stuff that it feels. I don't know if the console doesn't feel like a new console for one. It feels iterative, and they did like Jeff Keighley did a thing. This feels like what would have been the Pro console that it was heavily rumored for a long time.
Yes.
That never came out. Everything is like quality of life stuff. It's not a new system. Like graphically, from the videos we've seen, it doesn't look. I couldn't. If you told me that
You
was
do 4K now.
Sorry. You could,
It's
yeah,
the-
you could do 4K now, but
4K now.
that was always rumored for the Pro as well. That Pro Switch. So like, it feels like lots of quality of life stuff. The better Joy-Con, all that sort of stuff. The C button, voice chat. There's a camera now. Game sharing, which looks like you're doing it on the Nokia 3310, which didn't have a camera. Woo. But like, I mean, it just like with that video of that game sharing and the slowed down pixelated, like that's not a good advert.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I think the actual game sharing in terms of hardware, like, you can be in a room with one Switch, with one cartridge, and like 3 other people can play the game. So I was thinking like my little niece and nephew, because I will buy the Switch 2 on release date. And my niece and nephew have my old first generation Switch. Because when I got the OLED. So once I get this one, I will pass over the OLED. They'll have a Switch each. Like they can both have a Switch. So that also means when I go around to theirs, I like can have my multitude of games because I have a problem and I can just like, oh hey guys, like do you want to play some Mario or do you want to play some Pokemon or do you want to play this? And I'm the only person that has to buy it and they can join in and play the game and stuff. I think that is like an amazing feature. Love that so much. But yeah, when they were talking about, oh, you can like jump on video chat with your friends while you're playing a game, and I'm like, that's called Discord, Nintendo. That exists. Like you can do voice chat through your Switch. And like Harry and I have spent maybe 20 hours together over the past week on voice chat on Discord playing games together.
Like, 2002 on the Xbox. Do you know what I mean? It was like when Halo 2 came out, you were doing that. Like it just.
It's true. I mean, there someone I did when I was scrolling through Blue Sky. I saw someone had done a very good little short thread, which was like, this feels like Nintendo have only just discovered, and it was just a list of things, obviously, that have already pre-existed. So it was things like the iToy with PlayStation 2 for all those games they were doing with the people on camera. It's like, oh look, you can now do like full body based games. It's like, yeah, like on the iToy back in 2005 or whatever it was. It's like this
Yeah.
is like I get it. The thing is, we all again entrenched in this stuff. A lot of people who watch the showcase direct are all entrenched in this stuff. And I'm not trying to then poo-poo our comments and that, but Nintendo are able to get away with this not just because they've got the Switch already backing this, so the Switch 2 is immediately going to be a success, but also because Nintendo doing full motion capture, games makes sense for them to do that. It didn't make sense for PlayStation to do that with the iToy back in 2000 and whatever on the PS2. That wasn't their style. You know what I mean? Like they were making 3D platformers, and you were starting to get like, well, then you were getting things like Gran Turismo and all these sorts of things coming up. You know what I mean? Like they were
Only
getting
makes
into
sense for Nintendo to do it now, though, because back when PlayStation were doing the iToy, Nintendo had the GameCube. Like they were like, this is like more modern Nintendo, where the Wii was such a powerhouse. If the Wii hadn't happened, we would not expect any of this from Nintendo,
No,
and they
you're right.
probably wouldn't get away with it, to be honest.
No, absolutely. And I think that's it. I think it's because, one, Nintendo have built up this reputation of being the console maker that has a gimmick. Every generation has a gimmick. I have my own personal theory that every gimmick up until the Switch has basically been them working out how to basically make the Switch just from a very long time ago. I mean, the GameCube literally being the first example of that because it's got a handle. They literally made the first portable home console back in the early 2000s, literally just by adding a handle to a box. And it was like, yeah, it's much more portable than your PlayStation 2, and your Xbox.
To carry a PS2 Slim without, because it didn't have a handle. Like, what do I do with this really thin thing?
Yeah.
Pick this up.
But point being, though, of course, that no one realized, like, no one was making smaller home consoles at that point. It was the idea of just like make a home console because it's meant to sit at home. And then Nintendo were like, well, why don't you take your console over to your friend's house? Hey, that sounds fun. You incorporate that side of it. And then obviously you then had the Wii, where they introduced the nunchuck and the motion controls, the Joy-Cons. You then go into the Wii U with the secondary, with the screen and stuff like that. So like, docking it and being able to have it go up onto the main screen and all the rest of it. And then you get your Switch, the amalgamate, the collection of all those ideas basically now brought to whole, especially after them having such a strong grasp of the handheld market, where they're like, well, why don't we just make a slightly larger, more powerful version of these? Because that hits all those boxes, and then we can just do what we do with the Joy-Cons, stuff like that. So I'm not surprised by this stuff. It is silly that they're doing it now, but at the same time, it's like, it's like the Labo stuff again. It's like, that's a really kooky, crazy idea. That's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna go anywhere. That's gonna spin its wheels.
With some paint on it. Yeah, let's just do that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I do love the fact that Nintendo tries to innovate into things like this. Like, because otherwise, we are heading to a place where like Xbox and Sony are basically just affordable PCs, realistically. And I love my PC, I love my Xbox, I love my PlayStation, but I love the fact that Nintendo does the weird and little wonderful things that make video games like that a little bit special, rather than just on the PC and stuff. But then also today they did be like, oh, what if your Joy-Con was a mouse? And I was like, I don't have a coffee table. What am I doing with this? Like, where am I supposed to be? Where am I rolling this around?
Where's the official Nintendo Switch lap tray that I should be getting with this, and mouse pad and everything else? Like, come on, man! Like, you had all this opportunity to lay out all this other merchandise / shit that people would have bought because it had the logo on it, and you didn't capitalize. Like, instead, you made a really weird looking camera. Like, why? That's the point where I'm like, there was so much more you could have done, and you just didn't. Why not? Like, come on, you guys know that you can make so much money from this just by slapping logos on crap. You've done it before. Why are you not doing it now? I do not get it.
got every single Pokemon game that's ever been released.
There you
Like,
go.
I'm your target market for
Yeah.
people that will buy things that are below the quality level that they should be.
Yeah, they know how much people like to collect shit. They have Pokemon and stuff like that. They know this. They already know that people like to collect stuff. They made amiibos, and they're now making more of them again. And it's like, good, because I liked amiibos. They were great. Like, that's such a good idea. Like, do more of that. But actually, then, like, fucking put your back into it this time. For God's sake, like, don't half-ass it. Make them
Like,
worthwhile.
yeah, I mean,
This entire half end of the back half of the podcast is like we're trying to cover the news, but actually we're just mad at Nintendo for not announcing a new 3D Mario platformer. What
I
are you
didn't get
doing?
my
Elden Ring
Final
has
Fantasy
been
IX
out
remake.
for
I
5
wanted my
years.
Square Enix and Nintendo let me down.
but like the Switch 2, like it just feels like you've made loads of quality of life improvements, which is not a bad thing because that, yeah, if people want to do those things and have your crappy camera and all that sort of stuff, you go for it. But like the core thing is what the games are doing, isn't it? And if you can do new games with a more powerful hardware, I just like I don't. It's like a pro console, like a PS5 Pro, but with like because it is essentially a Switch still. It's not. I don't know. I don't like it. Feels like it's the Wii U. I don't want. I don't. Not in terms of like it might fail or whatever else. But when you said like,
Oh no,
it's
yeah,
not.
this is no way. This is definitely going to
Like,
fail.
but like people will go. But with the Wii U, people. I mean, it's very clear it's a different console. But when I worked at Game, people thought the Wii U was an
peripheral.
accessory to the Wii because the names are too similar. It didn't do enough different either.
Yep.
Like, and if the Switch 2 doesn't do enough different, will people see the value in that until all of the games are Switch 2 only? But then obviously there's such an install base for the original Switch. Will people
When do
will
they
they
cut
ever
it
drop
over?
the original
Yeah.
Switch and just have Switch 2, you know, the Switch 2 enhanced bits apart
Yeah.
from the like Mario Kart World Tour stuff, where it'll be like, oh yeah, if you want to pay another whatever cost it will be, you can get the Switch 2 version. Version
Well, they've not. So they did. Obviously, they've came out with the cost of the consoles and the games.
Yeah.
And okay, 100% Nintendo tax is real because 80 bloody pounds. Get out of here with this shit. But like, I'm also wondering because none of it's been confirmed about what the upgrade price will be.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I think that also like I'm not paying any amount of money for an upgrade to Legend of Zelda, which essentially is download an app on your phone and the woman will tell you where to go. What is that? Like, was this an upgrade pack? Like, what do you mean? Like,
call it Sat Navi.
Why was it not Sat Navi? Or why was it not voiced by the voice actress who either is Navi or Zelda?
hey, listen, I cost $24.99.
Like, yeah. But we're moving. We're about to transition from hardware into games, which I think is the right call because actually I think what's really interesting about the Nintendo Switch 2, to me personally, is what is coming with the software. And I don't just mean that it's like we want the games. It's more about what's happening with the games. That is, I think, the most interesting thing. You're right. I feel the same way you do about the hardware in general. It's a pro version of the original Switch. Put it with a 2 on it. It's been given some extra ports. Again, some great user features and stuff like that. Better stand, better hard drive space, nice, good high frame rate. Again, the fact that Nintendo are leaning more towards that's sort of how well it runs over visual fidelity to me is my preferred way for them to go. Like I would much rather their games ran well than looked good because they are masters of making things made out of whatever like piece of crap you throw at them look amazing. Like they're good at that regardless. But sometimes their games aren't great at running, and I feel like they can be better at that. It's the games where things got interesting for me because, of course, we saw some of the first-party stuff. So, of course, we saw the new Mario Kart World.
Yep, Mario Kart World. Yeah.
Yep. So they're basically, yeah, exactly, Mario Kart Horizon, which I think was a great call. I think it's very cool. Definitely be interested in playing that out and checking it out. And definitely can understand that then being one that's going to just keep growing and growing and growing, where they just keep adding more characters and adding more different things. The fact it is like that though, where it does feel like it's got like this exploration element to me.
Yeah.
There is a slight sting to it where I'm like, this could have been Diddy Kong Country. Diddy Kong Racing 2. Like we could have had Diddy Kong Racing 2. because this is exactly what Diddy Kong Racing was, where you could just like change your vehicle and go and explore the island and like find like stuff. And I'm like,
Diddy Kong Racing all but name then.
yeah, but like that's what I mean. Like, give him his due. Diddy did such a good job.
I'm
back
sure
in
you can play
64.
Diddy Kong in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Just mainline Diddy
It's
Kong.
not the same. It's got the damn Italian name on it again. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, let Diddy have a
well, you know,
go.
I feel like
That's what I'm
I
saying.
feel like I'd probably sell less if it was called Diddy Kong Racing
Look,
too.
look, I don't know why you guys are now being mean to me about this. We're on Nintendo. We're going having a go at Nintendo. Okay, not me.
I don't know. It seems like you really changed the subject on it. Like we're all being mean to
Like,
Nintendo.
And now you've decided just to turn on me. I don't know why. I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna cut all of this. No, but
It's really smart, like the Horizon kind of thing where you can just keep adding lands to it, because the
yeah,
the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Super Plus Pro Edition or whatever it was with like 1,000,000 tracks was
Yeah.
getting a bit silly, wasn't it? Like, I mean, it's great quality in terms of like 20 quid and you get 1,000 tracks or whatever it was. It was cool from a content perspective, but actually building it
Yeah.
into the world, and it's that kind of accessible. But if you have to pay for all of those things, then you're gonna lose people to that anyway, aren't you?
yeah. I hope my when I heard about it being like open world and stuff like that, my hope was like, oh, I hope the whole game is open world. Like you literally get when you start the game, you just get dropped in, and like literally like so you drive around. If you want to go to the options menu, you can drive up to like a garage, and then it's like the options menu, that sort of thing. But I want it to be the case where the tracks are out in the world and you have to find them, and then once you found them,
I
you like,
don't want that.
I want that. I want that because it drives me to go and look around. Otherwise, you just be going directly to the tracks just to race. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only reason I don't want that is because it's Mario Kart. And when I play Mario Kart, it's when I have 3 other people round at my house and we've either had some beers or, something else.
Yeah.
We just want to sit and play some Mario Kart. And I don't want to have to pre-prep Mario Kart by having to find fun tracks to go and find for us to play. And maybe some of the ones that I've found are a bit shit. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, come round to mine. We'll have some dinner. We'll have some drinks. And I found Baby Park. Like, and that's what we're going to play. And it's part of the
Yeah.
Grand Prix. Like, I feel like there has to be like, if it's potentially like in the single player mode, you have to find the tracks in order to race them. Yeah. But it has, for me, it has to be like you can unlock different things by playing the cups in the
Sure.
Grand
Yeah.
Prix with friends and stuff. But in my mind, I don't really play a lot of Mario Kart single player. I haven't done since the SNES version because it was one of 2 games that we
But
owned
that's what.
for a SNES.
That's
Like,
why this is my. But this is the thing because there's been no reason to play Mario Kart single player ever really, because there's never been a component that's actually driven you to play it single player. Unlike Diddy Kong Racing, which did it, and now Mario Kart World seems to want to make you do it. So that's why I'm like, cool. If you want that to
I
be an
still
open
won't
world,
play it. I'll just
no, I get it.
invite my
I
friends
get
round
it.
to play Mario Kart 8. Like,
Yeah, no, I get you. Like, absolutely, there should be the option just to like, on the options and menus, like go into the open world or just start racing. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, you should have that absolutely. Like, go into a championship or Grand Prix, or just enter the open world and explore. But if you're just letting me go out into the world and explore, what am I exploring it for? Is my point. Sort of like, you have to give me something a reason for doing this, as opposed to just racing around and occasionally bumping into
like
NPCs and being like, oh, let's race against an NPC. It's like, why don't I just go into a race then in the Grand Prix? Like, I don't understand what the difference is here.
what if you unlock different characters? Because you unlock
Yeah.
characters in Mario Kart 8 by winning, like, in parts for your car.
Yeah.
Because obviously you can do all the car optimization and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
potentially something like that. I just wouldn't like it to be tied to like lots of tracks that you have to go out and find. Because again, I'm like, come on, mine, we're going to get tanked and we're going to play some Mario Kart.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying like, yeah, I wouldn't suggest you like bar all the content until you found it necessarily. It would just be the idea of like there'd be hidden tracks and stuff like that, and then maybe you've unlocked them then for like a new Grand Prix that otherwise you didn't have access to. So it's like, oh, you found the 4 tracks that make up the Bowser Grand Prix, and or whatever it might be, and thus you've now got a 5th Grand Prix instead of just the original 4 to pick from, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I hope that they basically do enough with the fact it's an open world driving game at the end of the day, because as much as I like the change in its structure, you then got to make it work in that structure.
It's Donkey Kong who was the starter, right?
Well,
just take
and
swing on his tie, innit?
And rightfully so. We obviously then saw Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a best title, like
fantastic title,
hands down best title. Big 3D platformer as Donkey Kong, totally destructible environments, like red faction levels of just punch through walls, floors, ceilings, everything. Like this looked amazing. This was the one thing that I really like kind of sat up in my chair for, being like, okay, this is fun. This is exactly the sort of thing I want. And so like that definitely piqued my interest. What did you guys think of that one?
Yeah, I think it looked. I think it looked really, really fun, and I did also think it was quite interesting that they sort of ended the stream with a Donkey Kong platformer rather than a Mario platformer. Like I was sort of expecting them to end it on the next new 3D Mario game, but it was a really pleasant surprise to see the next new 3D Donkey Kong game. I was like, I'm really excited about this. Like, this looks great fun. I will absolutely buy a Switch 2 to play this game. Like,
yeah. In the same way that when there was that whole sequence where Kirby was falling and hitting the star, and you just know that everyone was going, Smash Brothers, smash, 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 and then ends up being the new Kirby Air Riders game being made by Sakurai, and I'm like, good for you, man. Yeah, no, you do what you want with your boy, because Kirby's your guy, and I'm totally down for whatever anything you want to do. You got Kirby in the Forgotten Land. You have Air Riders, buddy. You deserve it. They can wait for another Smash. That's fine. I'm totally down.
who needs Mario Kart? We can all play Kirby Air Raiders.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm definitely on that. Just by sheer virtue of I'm still annoyed that we're not getting Diddy. So I'm like, I'll
you
stick
hate
with Kirby.
Mario Kart. You hate
I'll
Mario.
go and play with
You're
Kirby because Kirby's my boy.
Anti-Mario.
I love Kirby. Kirby's great. No, but I've always liked when Nintendo have actually ventured off into it's still within their own first party fields, but just not centrally around Mario, Luigi, the Mushroom Kingdom stuff, and Zelda. Like as much as I love those, I'm like, you have Kirby, you've got Donkey Kong, you've got Diddy Kong, you've got Metroid with Samus, which now again we're finally at the stage where they're like, oh god, yeah, do you guys remember we had all these other IPs we used to make games for? It's like, yeah, we all remember. You seem to forget, and now finally we're getting all of these back in some really cool ways, which is fantastic. I'm happy to see it. Other things were a bit annoying with the fact that I popped off when the GameCube stuff was announced, and then they immediately were like, and that's how you're going to get Wind Waker. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
so you're not going to remark? Okay, fine. All right.
What did you think about Donkey Kong? The new Donkey Kong Addy? You didn't get to comment on it.
Yeah, no, Harry just steamrolled over us, talking about
all right.
yeah.
Okay. You had your rant. You had yours.
Well, I'm glad it's not a Diddy Kong game, I must say.
Yeah.
I was really glad to see because I didn't think, because I loved the N64 Donkey Kong. I thought it was so good. I really enjoyed that, and I didn't think we'd ever get a Donkey Kong like that again. And it seems like we might do, which is really cool. But it kind of looks like from the trailer they're getting some of that 2D element in as well as the 3D, because it's like kind of classic looking stuff, and I kind of like the hybrid stuff. It works really well. When you get in the 3D Marios and you get those classics when you've got no equipment and gear, like in Sunshine when you got those with no. But I used to love those with the kind of vocals good.
I mean, the best 3D Mario game, Super Mario Sunshine. Like,
yeah. So yeah, like all that, and I love stuff like that. It's great. So it looks really fun. Donkey Kong's look is different, which is interesting. It looks like more zany, I suppose. It's quite an interesting look. But I'm excited to play it, and I will get a Switch 2 for that at some point. I was a bit thrown by the fact that it's not a launch title. It comes out like
a month later.
Which seems really
It's
odd.
the only launch title Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, yeah, I think so.
Well,
There's like
and the thing that tells you about the magnets in the side of the console.
Yes. So I think that's the only Switch 2 exclusive that comes out on launch, because there's loads of obviously like Switch 2 enhanced games and stuff like that. But there's
I'm not paying an extra £20 to go on a fake roller coaster in Mario Party Jamboree. Like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm sorry, I refuse.
What's the release date for Metroid Prime 4?
That's not one, is it?
Has it not been? That's still not been announced, has it?
No,
no, I don't think. So.
I mean, Metroid Prime 4, I am all in for, because I do 1, 2, and 3 on the Switch though. On the Switch 2, they've done the first one. I imagine I'll get an enhancement, but like, give us the whole series now, all primes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see more of that.
They did
you know.
say it was getting an enhancement, but they didn't say the release date or anything like that.
No. So I thought maybe if that was one that was around the launch, I'd be like that. Technically, then they'd have Mario Kart World and Metroid Prime 4, which would be a solid enough first party lineup. Just be like, there you go. Those are your two big ones.
Okay.
You got as you said, you got the upgraded ones. You've then got the third party stuff coming in, and excuse me, the third party stuff is where I was like, this is where I feel like they've shown growth in that respect, because you've basically had the flip of what happened with the Switch, where Nintendo had to basically carry the Switch themselves on their own because they, I think, lost a lot of trust from third parties with the Wii U. And so that everyone was like,
Also, I think at a certain point, the Switch just couldn't run games.
Yeah.
Like they had to do the cloud streaming and things like that because a lot of games were just too intense.
oh yeah, a lot
I
of
know
games
people
were
talk a lot
crap.
about the Witcher 3 on the Switch and being like, it's amazing that they got it to run. And it's like, it is amazing that they got it to run. It's just a shame that it runs like shit. Like, you know, like,
There's the infamous Mortal Kombat one, isn't there, with the teeth and the just going through the mouth and stuff like that, because it's such a version, because the only way they could make it work.
Yeah. But I think though, to have that sort of Rolodex then shown of like, not, and also have them all like represented by somebody, it seemed, nearly, except for like Miyazaki, who didn't show up for Elden Ring. But like every game that was like then shown off in that like rundown was headed by some representative being like, hey, I'm from Capcom and we're bringing this game, and hey, we're from CD Projekt Red and we're going to bring this game. I mean, even like IOI Interactive showed up and we're like, we're putting Hitman on it. Oh, and James Bond's coming to it. It's like, we haven't heard about the James Bond game since you guys said you were making a James Bond game, and you showed off at the Nintendo Direct.
It's actually one of the highlights.
What the hell? Like, this is like the most random drop of all time in this whole thing. And it wasn't even like a real drop. It was just, it's still happening. Project 007.
It's like, cool that they got like those like vocal shows of support for the console, because I think that, as like you say, it's been a big thing. Like the thing that carries Nintendo often is the first party stuff, isn't it? And if you play any third party stuff, that's a bit great. That's just gravy, isn't it? I suppose. But now they've got like, but the criticism of this show is like, well, it's not criticism, I suppose. It's more like what we'd said as being people who play on lots of platforms and have played lots of these games, like, oh, that game's already out, that game's already out, that game's already out, it's already available. Like, I think we were hoping to see, given it was Nintendo's Direct about the new console, we were hoping to see more exclusive stuff. And like more like Nintendo stuff, like, because especially like you would expect they could do the third party Direct and it'd be more streamlined, not here's an absolute unloading of all the games, and like they had that expression of interest more. It felt a bit rushed, didn't it? They were jumping between them very quickly. There's a lot to take in, and then they go, we still don't have time for it all. So here's like a literal solid block of seconds of each game that's coming out.
Here's 3 seconds confirming that Silk Song is releasing in 2025. Like, you just melt the internet, and then afterwards we're going to say, oh, and we've got a new exclusive FromSoft game, by the way, that looks like it could be Bloodborne, but actually it's Fortnite that looks like Bloodborne, just so you know.
That's the most when we saw that, it's what is it called?
The Dust Bloods.
The Dust Bloods. Yeah. So when that showed up and we started
seeing, take my blood, and he's holding his hand, and I was like, oh my god, they're just going to put Bloodborne 2. They've just stolen it from Sony. They're just going to put it on the Switch. And I was like, yes, do it. And then you saw the whole trailer, and I was like, well, they've just done it. And then I read some stuff about it later, and it's like, well, it's a battle royale, and I was like, all right, throw it straight in the bin and eat. Absolutely not.
Sadly, doesn't sound like it's gonna be my cup of tea. But I did like the fact that it did seem to be such a massive like blend of like so many different aesthetics as well, because it did have like the Bloodborne vibe to it, but that was only in parts, because then the guy jumps around with a fucking jetpack.
Yeah.
You know? So it's
there was definitely some the reused assets from Elden Ring, like absolutely, like.
I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely fine. I love From Software.
No, I'm absolutely fine with that. Like, but they were all, I wonder if they were working on that and Night Rain at the same time.
Yeah,
so Night
100%. 100% they would have been,
so many. Well, it's all the old assets, which I love, because we're going to be able to fight Fume Knight again. Put Dark Souls 2 on Switch 2, you cowards! You cowards!
See?
Why are they bringing? Why do, like, to me, if like if this is this because the Switch 2 can't run Night Rain, why not release Night Rain? Because it's essentially Night Rain but with Bloodborne aesthetics and some other stuff, right? Because it's like I just
Light Rain comes out. Well, actually, yeah, it comes out like 6 days before the Switch 2 launches. So why not just
what
release the Switch 2 version later? 'Cause it's all in the.
Does
It must be able to run it
does
because
the
all
Switch
of Elden Ring is.
did the Switch
Elden
have
Ring's coming to it, and
does the Switch have many games other than like major, huge, like third-party free-to-play games like Fortnite? Does it have cross-play with many other games?
no, because even stuff like Fortnite, realistically, there's been a big shamash over the years. Oh, and for people that are not from Scotland, shamash means like a fight. Like, but there's been a big shamash over the years, and the fact that because Nintendo's so protective
Yeah,
over in-game chat and like the parental controls and things like that, they they don't really do a lot of crossplay with a lot of different titles
yeah.
because those titles might have those features built into the title.
Hmm.
So
So
I think
yeah,
that
to me,
they're like them having the chat now that then has their own parental controls over the top of it.
yeah.
Is probably why they're allowing more multiplayer stuff.
this to me is FromSoft having their cake and eating it because they're making their cross-play free game Night Rain that's going to be on PC, Xbox, PlayStation. Oh, Nintendo won't play ball with that. Okay, we'll make them an exclusive one.
That's
That's
exactly
only for
what.
them.
That's why
Literally.
Night Rain.
They don't have to worry about it. It's yours. No one else is going to play it. It might come to others later. They may eventually like lapse, and it might be just like a timed exclusive. But for right now, Nintendo want their own because they won't play nice with the others. Guess who gets to make it for them? FromSoft. That's why Miyazaki's head is at that one, I think, because he's like, this is much more of an interesting like major project for me rather than Night Rain, which was one of his other teammates coming up to him being like, I've had a good idea. I want to do it. And he's like, sure, go and do that. I've got to work on this Nintendo thing we're now doing. So to me, I see it as them being like, yeah, we can double dip to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Reusing assets again, which is great, and then being able to make games for every platform, and everybody's then happy. People want Duskbloods. You want Duskbloods? You get a Switch because that's what Nintendo want you to do, and that's what's going to work for FromSoft. They will have come up with some crazy, brilliant deal then between them, no doubt, for that game. That's like that is such a huge get for the Switch 2.
Oh, absolutely.
The big
I don't know
draws
if
are
I'll buy
all
it though.
well,
As a
yeah,
long
that's it. It comes
time
down to
from software
yeah,
fan.
What I still want to do with the Switch 2, which I was hoping they were going to do, is introduce some sort of achievement system.
yeah. They
Now I
didn't
know
do anything like that. Yeah,
like achievement systems, but I think a smart evolution of any sort of achievement system. And I want this to happen on trophies and achievements on the Xbox. Is to have the option to toggle them off. Because if you don't like them, you can just switch them off. Switch the system off.
Yeah.
And you can't earn them, but if you want to have it on, you can. But then, because that's the thing. If Nintendo want to do it, brill. Let me turn it on. But there, I'd love to do that, and I'm much more invested in it then.
So yeah, let's get some. I think should we wind up our thoughts then on Nintendo stuff and kind of start to lead out then on this.
I think we should maybe wrap up. I think.
Yeah. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of cool games that I'm very excited for, both from Nintendo themselves and just their third-party partners. The console looks great. It doesn't have amazing bells and whistles that make me go, "Oh my goodness, that's all I ever needed," and now it's the perfect console. But neither did the Xbox Series or the PlayStation 5. No console's done that to me in a long time. It's as we said, it's an iterative process now, and Nintendo are a step or two behind the other two as far as power is concerned. But as always, they play to their strengths and they know how to work within the confines that they set for themselves.
We're not going to go into a rant about GTA.
No. We don't even know if that's still coming out this year, so let's not. That's fine.
Out this year.
Yeah.
I will still maintain.
But yeah, that is something that is coming out in the future, obviously, people. And that's what we're going to move on to now, is what is coming up. And if you have been paying, if you've been on any of our previous episodes, really, you will know that the three of us here, one of us is already there, but the three of us here, and then Mark as well, will be going to
I'll go
the.
to jail.
It's
it's
part
all
of our
like
smuggling off.
Nintendo just did. They're gonna cart us away now.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've got bad opinions about games, straight to jail, right
Straight
to
to
jail.
jail. Right to jail. Exactly. But no, we will be going to. We will be going to the London Games Festival, to the New Game Plus event, which is new for the whole kind of event itself this year, and it's an opportunity for us and a lot of other people actually, because I think it's basically a sort of a publicly facing event where you can just buy tickets to it, which is great, and it wasn't too expensive. But we will be going to basically see and try out a whole bunch of cool looking games. There's over 70 games on show there. Get to talk with the developers and do a little bit of networking and things like that, which will be really exciting. We've actually got one or two meetings already lined up, which is quite cool. So we're kind of getting a bit of a schedule together for ourselves. And then, of course, it is the first time that we will, any year, think of the GSC team will have met in person. I believe. Stano maybe probably has met some of the others, maybe up in Canada. I'm not sure. But
If you're in London on Friday night, maybe just steer clear of King's Cross because it's going to be maybe a little bit wild.
Yeah, that's it. That's us. We're a rowdy bunch, can't you tell?
We're flipping tables.
Yeah.
Chairs flying everywhere.
Addy will be doing that. I'll be putting them
Addy
back
will
and
absolutely snap
apologizing.
your neck while you're peeing without even checking if you're hostile or not.
Won't even check to see if you've got a lead for him.
Well, absolutely, yeah. What if I sneak into the toilet? Your neck's getting snapped. That's for damn sure.
I'll be wallowing up my pint.
I don't mean to take the piss, but I will. Obviously, that is not a threat of violence for anybody in London. That was a callback to the Atomfall discussion.
I'm going to cut the whole Atomfall discussion, leave that out in there. So it's just.
Really needed to clarify that because they would get some red flags against me.
I'm going to remove the context for the clarification, so now it's just left out, and they'll just be like, "You're lying."
That's how we start the episode.
Cyclical cold open.
Okay, just cut out the fact that we're talking about Atomfall. Just like, I saw this guy and he was just pissing, and then I just went up and snapped his neck.
It's after all what you do.
So what do you think of the Nintendo Switch 2, Addy?
All right, yes. So we will be finishing this up, but yeah, of course, we will be doing that over this Thursday and Friday. You'll hear about that over the articles we'll be putting out afterwards, as well as the next podcast. So I hope we'll get all four of us on to talk about our experiences there.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll let you know of any other future content that we've got planned coming out from it. As well as that, I have, and we'll go around quickly and talk about any bits we've got coming up. But the new demo disc will be out, I imagine, by the time you are watching this. So the third issue of the GSC demo disc will be available, April's issue, with over a dozen demos to try out for games that are both, some of which will be out already and some of which are coming out. So it gives you an opportunity to find something maybe that you haven't seen yet that might tickle your fancy, or if you haven't found a game that you're interested right now, try out a whole bunch of demos and just see what's out there. It'll be kind of fun. And we do that obviously every month. So yeah, always worth checking out. And working on a few interviews. I've got one lined up with one of the developers over at Ivy Road, who were the team behind Wonderstop, a game I reviewed at the end, so late March, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. So I'll be talking with them about the themes of the game and sort of like how they tie in with the mechanics and just the general development of the game, which will be really exciting. And yeah, I think that's sort of stuff coming up from me. What about you, Addy? What have you got? I was really hoping that I wasn't sure if you'd frozen there or not.
I can only see half of you because of where I am. It looks like you've just fallen asleep off the camera.
I'm determined to get my Atomfall review done as soon as possible. But I will be doing guides as I go, which is why it's taking me longer because I'm working on guides at the same time. So lots of guides already. Keep an eye out for any more. If you're an achievement hunter and you're a bit stuck with any of them, plenty of achievement guides, which is nice. Apart from that, I don't know if I'm working on anything else other than just standard news stuff. I might start. I'm going to play South of Midnight. It's not site related, but I definitely want to play that when it comes out. So yeah. Outside of that, I've got an audition on Sunday for Guys and Dolls. So.
Hey. Oh,
Amazing.
good luck with that.
It's a callback actually, so I've already done the initial.
Hey. All righty. Well done, sir. Well done. Before we move on to V, I will also mention, we will have some South of Midnight stuff. I know we said that at the top of the episode, I think, but do keep an eye out for that. We will have that sort of content either rolling out around the sort of time, or it will all be out.
By the time this goes up.
Yeah.
So pretty sure embargo is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
So actually don't publish this until after embargo because we've discussed it. It would probably be a good idea.
Oh yeah.
Is like 3 p.m. UK time tomorrow. And there will be a review and lots and lots and lots of guides. I think Dano's got 14 guides scheduled to go alongside the review. So
to get a few more
out.
Atomfall, I can't even beat me. I'm not having this.
Yeah. And then V, what have you got for us coming up?
I'm currently working on a review for Rosewater, which is from Grundislav Games, which is one of the very first companies that we ever got a review code for an interview with, like back when the site started, like just over a year ago. So it's lovely to, continue to support them, and also for them to continue to support us. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that when we get back from the London Game Show. And also coming hopefully mid-April, but might be slightly towards the end of April, we've managed to secure an interview with Thunder Lotus, which is the devs of Spiritfarer, and obviously, as you've heard Harry and I talk about quite frequently, 33 Immortals. So we've been chatting to them about 33 Immortals and all of the inspiration behind the game and what potentially could be coming to the game as part of early access and as it goes into full production. So that will be hopefully mid-April, but obviously the team is very busy over there at the moment, doing hot fixes and working on stuff in early access. But as soon as that comes out, we'll be able to publish it. And again, even if you just want to join the Discord and jump in games with any of us that are playing 33 Immortals or any co-op games as they're going, please feel free. Like, we will carry you through Inferno. Me with my daggers.
Absolutely.
Harry with any of the 4 weapons because he can use all 4 of them. Unfortunately, I am only daggers. I can't do anything else.
The only problem with that is that Harry will just mock the way you talk all the way through. So it's just something you've got to live with.
I do like to mock people. It's true. And I get nothing.
If you're lucky, you get him on a call by yourself. He won't make fun of you. But as soon as someone else is there, that's it. You're like dead meat. That's it. Toast.
I'm nice one-on-one. Watch my interviews with developers. I'm lovely. But that is everything I think for today, everybody. So thank you to Lady V and to Adam for joining me today. Thank you, guys.
Sorry, but it's been a pleasure. It's been lovely to talk to you, sir.
Next week I will be out of jail. Yes. I won't have to sit on my own folded up jacket on a folding chair to try and not be the shortest thing in the room. So,
to at least be taller than the broken lamp next to you. Yeah. For points of reference.
I also won't look like a thumb with a wig on because the lighting is so bad. Like my whole face has become my neck and chest.
Excuse me, sorry, that caught me. Oh my goodness. It's time to go, everyone. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But otherwise, take care of yourselves, play some fun games, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.